But all right, well, I guess we'll move on to the next one. This was actually my personal favorite conference, and I'll explain why later. But Sony's conference this year, pretty big. A lot of really cool stuff announced. A lot of things we never thought would ever be announced was announced. I mean, I don't even know how to tackle this. What order to go in? I guess we could start with what they opened. I guess that would be a smart idea. They started with The Last Guardian, which, like, holy crap. I mean, that was my first thought was like, oh my god, they're actually talking about it. Because The Last Guardian has been like the drunk uncle you don't like talking about for the last couple of years. Like, no one has referenced it. No one's really, like
it's like Star Wars 1313.
Yeah, like it just kind of like went away, and
it went into mythology. It became gaming mythology.
Yeah, it became a legend. Yeah, like there once was a game. I got really excited. I did think the demo itself was a bit slow. I don't think it was particularly the best demo you could have had for it. I just think the shock value alone that this game was alive and well and that it's coming out next year was pretty cool. One thing, though, that I was a little bit disappointed in, graphically, I wasn't that impressed.
It looks like it's built for PS3, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looked exactly like the same PS3 demo we saw when it was first shown off. Like, what, back in, I think it was 08 or 09? It was shown off?
I expected a Final Fantasy 15 style treatment. When Final Fantasy 13 Versus went to 15.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like rebuilt from the ground up and like really kind of like built into this new game. You can really tell the difference what 13 Versus is to 15.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with that. I think they literally just got the game and they just moved it. It's almost like a remaster of a game that never happened, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Like, but that was an exciting opening. That I think that before the conferences when we did our 3-part pre-3 topic. For Sony, I said that it was the conference I was the most excited for because they could literally do anything. We don't know what they're going to show, and I think that was a great way to open it because going forward, you're like, what are they going to talk about? Like, what the hell is going to happen? So that was pretty cool.
It was big news. I think it's never going to live up to hype factor. I think the hype is it's beyond it's beyond legend now. Yeah. I just think whatever comes out, it'll never live up to that. Because as you said, as you said, it became mythology, it became a legend. It became a story where you could tell your children that you knew what The Last Guardian was.
Yeah.
I was there when The Last Guardian was premiered at E3 for the first time. And then when they came about, it was a great way to open it. When they introduced Halo 5 at Microsoft, I was like, The Last Guardian is here. And Sony's, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was an outstanding opening. They actually, following that, well, shit. Do you want to follow? Because I have
Let's go in. Oh, I mean, yeah, go with your notes. We'll go chronologically. Because I think that conference was a little bit hit and miss at certain points. Yeah. Especially the pacing.
The next part that I was excited for was Horizon Zero Dawn. They announced a new IP. And, dude, you know what impressed me? It was Guerrilla Games. So immediately everyone's like, oh, it's going to be another Killzone game. And I'm like, oh my god, it's a new IP. And it looks really fucking cool and unique, and it's from people that have really it's a girl, which I'm like, holy shit! It's not a 30-year-old white guy. Girl. That's amazing. Like, and it's so sad that that's a revelation, but it really was. I'm like, I am already immediately. I was intrigued with that concept, and then just the whole idea of it was phenomenal.
I will tell you, this was my game of E3.
I don't blame you.
More than Gears of War 4, more than anything, this was the game of E3 for me.
It was
because I remember sitting there watching it, and I was typing on my laptop, covering the news and whatever else, and my eye flipped over. And it's like, oh, welcome Guerrilla Games. I was like, okay, right, kept going. And when they showed it, and they kind of showed that cinematic and how the world was destroyed and how it came back and how the plants are growing, and then cuts into the footage of that female protagonist and how she's walking through, and they have these kind of like dinosaur electronic creatures.
Yeah.
Like the gameplay and how like she. I just love how soft her voice is.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm sorry, little one. I couldn't let you call your friends. Like, I felt like it was really bad, but I also felt it's so soft, though.
Yeah.
Like, this woman understands the world she lives in. It's a fucking hellhole, but, she gets it. And she's still human. That's the best part about it. She's still very much human.
Yeah.
And, when I watched that trailer, even when you find the big kind of like, can we say dinosaur?
Yeah, it's a robot dinosaur.
Yeah, robot dinosaur. Yeah, obviously Killzone has to have some kind of like Killzone developer has to have something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I watched that trailer and when it finished, I was like, I am fucking sold. Like, it takes a lot. Like, I think like one of the games, Life is Strange, was one of those games where I saw it for the first time. I was like, yes, I'm sold. Until Dawn, I'm sold. It takes a lot for it to like most games. Last Guardian will fly under my radar. Don't really care.
Yeah.
Big game, just honestly don't care. I'm more interested in Horizon. I was so impressed. I was just there like, wow. Very much wow to like Guerrilla Games. I was like, fantastic. Great way of moving away from Killzone and also bringing a very fresh IP, especially with the protagonist. You know, the way just the way I really want to learn more about her. That says everything. The lore behind that universe was enough to kind of grab me in.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, there's so many. You're right. There's so many mysteries to it. I felt like Guerrilla Games grew up a little bit. Like they kind of grew up and they're doing something that's very mature for them. Yeah, they definitely have our attention. Hopefully they could maintain our interest. And I don't even think they gave a release date. It's to be determined. It may not even come out next year. But I'm willing to wait as long as I have to wait.
Very interesting, though.
Yeah. Well, next up in my notes I have when Media Molecule announced Dreams.
Yes.
Dude, to be honest, I'm interested in it, but only because it's a game being developed by Media Molecule. I have no idea what this game's about. I have no idea what the gameplay is. The concept sounds interesting, but it kind of alienated me a little bit. I wasn't quite sure what to take away from it, from, it's a new IP. That's really cool.
Do you think they were being too pretentious?
I don't think they're as pretentious as, let's say, Peter Molyneux with his fables and shit. Like, that guy is the definition of when you can get... And no offense to him, I have great admiration for him, but he can be really self-serving at times during E3. Yeah. And I didn't think they were as self-serving, but it was a little bit, border... It was treading in that way. I would say that that's a pretty valid, statement to make. Like, a valid observation.
I think... One thing I did like when they were like, you have to watch it more to get what it is. Because he was kind of like, I felt sorry for him because he was in a position where he had to sell this idea. And it's really one of those ones where you watch it and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, honestly, it's one of those ones where your expression drops and you're like, what?
Yeah.
There's other kind of positive reactions like the what way. I'm like, what? Like, what's happening? But yeah, he did kind of sell it a little bit better because when he said like you need to watch more, I kind of got a bit more interested in it. I still think it's kind of weird where it's using the light bar so much.
Yeah.
The motion, the DualShock Pro, I was a little bit like, you know what? Well, I mean, it's a big change, though, from Tearaway and Little Big Planet, but I still like how they're being very, very ambitious. And, like, I do think they were being a little bit pretentious with certain things.
Yeah.
Just how they were kind of selling it. But I think that the way they were kind of, like, presenting this game was like, oh, this is, this has some potential. I think more times I watch it, maybe more I'll kind of, like, warm up to the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree definitely on that. We definitely need more info. I'm not excited about it at all because I don't know what it is, and I'm glad it was another to be determined game. I highly doubt it's coming out next year. I think next year we're gonna have like more of an idea of what it is, probably at next E3. But it's cool to at least reveal it, get people excited about the idea of Dreams and Media Molecule, and I mean they have quite an imagination that they've shown before with Tearaway and Little Big Planet, so it's something different, so that's really cool. Just like with Guerrilla Games, they're trying something it seems a lot more cerebral, and I'm all for that. I mean, it looks like a different type of game, and that's what we need.
Yeah, definitely.
The next game I have on my notes is Firewatch, which was shown briefly. I love the art style of it, and I think the story idea, the characters seem very relatable and very like... they had a really nice back and forth rapport. Great acting and great, like, just the story idea of it. It was another indie game, first person, and I'm kind of, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I'm kind of really getting tired of indie games being, like, shoved down our throats. This one in particular, though, I think looked very interesting. But
is this the one where he goes to the lighthouse?
Yeah, and then she's like, if you're down there, who's in the lighthouse? And it ends.
Yeah, that was a good ending. I thought that was a very... great cliffhanger. I think it's very, the indie vibe is coming back a little bit. I was like, okay. But I do like the fact that you're walking on this world with this woman on the walkie-talkie. You don't even know who this woman is.
Yeah.
You're just walking around and she's talking to you. It's kind of that, it had that everybody's gone to the rapture feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this kind of like, you're distant, and then that ending was very much like, whoo, the definition of it enticing. Like, come on, you want to see more.
It's creepy. You're like, where is this game going? It could go anywhere from that.
I think that was great though, where she's like, "You're on the right house," and it's like, "Yeah," but it's like, "Who's in your tower?" And you just like see swift track. It's like, oh shit!
It was like those one sentence horror stories type things. Like it was one of those type things.
Yeah, it was very, very much horror elements coming from the genre, where it's like, when horror film, when like on the phone, like scream, like, where are you, Mr. Scary Man? He's like, I'm behind the curtains. It's just like goes flying out. But yeah, definitely very interesting. It was very I think we hit and miss with some people.
Yeah, agreed, definitely, yeah. And then of course this is this was one of the there's 3 big announcements that I thought that were made at Sony that made me think that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse were about to rain down on us. The first one was obviously The Last Guardian, and the second one is what I'm about to mention. Dude, Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was when they. Here's the thing: when they started playing it, immediately I'm like, I don't buy it. Like, because I've been disappointed so many times that I'm like, I don't think it's gonna happen.
You feel like Ron Burgundy, where you're like, I don't believe it.
Yeah, like you're.
And even when the actual logo comes, you're like, I don't believe it.
No, that's when I lost my shit. But
I had to wait for him to say this is a remake of Final Fantasy VII. I was like, okay, now I believe you.
No, I lost my shit when they showed the comet, the meteor, like the iconic, like symbol that is Final Fantasy VII. Dude, it was definitely an event. I mean, it will be one of those things that I'm like, I remembered when that was finally made. People have been wanting this since the tech demo on PS3. That they were like, this is not a game, okay? And then they showed the tech demo. They've been wanting that since then, and there's a lot. I think it brought a lot. It was a cool announcement because we're like, finally, but now a shitload of questions are open. And now we got to see, like, there's so many details now. Like, what's the battle system? What is it going to be based off of? Is it new? Is it going to be based off of, Final Fantasy 15? Is it going to be like a reimagined, of Final Fantasy 7? Like, how many liberties are you taking from the story? Is it going to follow the same? Like, when you say remake, how much of a remake is it? Because you look at Resident Evil and you look at Resident Evil PS1 compared to the GameCube, and there's ginormous differences between the two of them. So it was a great moment, man. It was just so great. I'm happy it's being made. The hype was brought.
Yeah, it was like up there with The Last Guardian. It's the shock factor.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I think it was unreal. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm very hesitant as well, just because it's a remake. We could be hyped about the MGS1 remake, and then Twin Snakes came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be very careful. When you ask for something so much, you're like, I want an MGS remake, and they make one. It might not be what you want.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's where now the questions are up. Like, what is this now? What are you giving us? Like, come on, spill the beans, man. But the next, thing, the big thing that happened, and dude, this was what pretty much sealed the deal for me on Sony being my favorite thing. And I know you have some interesting points on it, but I gotta just say it. Shenmue 3. Shenmue 3 is one of those things where I thought I would have cried or something from enjoyment, but I think I was just shocked. Like, my mouth was just hit the floor. And Rebecca, it was funny, my wife did not watch anything E3 oriented with me. All 8 conferences, she only saw one, and it was Sony. And she was like, "What? Why is this big? What's happening to you?" And I'm just like, "Oh my god, they're actually doing it!" I couldn't believe it. I was in a state of shock. I mean, I could not believe Shenmue 3 was being made.
It's one of those moments where you have to question reality, if you are sleeping or not.
Dude,
if this is your dream E3 lineup, like, it's just one of those moments where it's honestly that moment where it's just like that moment of believing what Christopher Nolan is going to direct a James Bond film. You just can't believe it. When you read it, you're like, wait, like, is that happening? Like, what?
Yeah.
It's the same with the Spider-Man deal with the Marvel. Do you know that massive deal about Spider-Man becoming part of the MCU?
Oh yeah.
We were all like, no, it's not happening. And even when you read on Marvel's website, you're still like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Like, it's not happening. And then you kind of have to wake up to reality, and you're like, holy fuck! Like, Shenmue 3 is happening.
The first thing I did, dude, I immediately went to Kickstarter and donated. I think it was like $28 or $29 to get the digital PS4 copy. Like the servers were down, like I just kept clicking it. I was like missing some of the conference, and I was just like, fuck everything. I need this right now. I mean, I would never have thought in a million years this would happen. Only because of the logistics. I mean, Shenmue 1 and 2 didn't sell well, and Sega was very hesitant on making a conclusion and ending the series. And I think it's really great. I mean, as of right now, and I'm sure this is not going to be an updated thing once I say this, it's not even going to be updated. But the Kickstarter is at $3,052,685 of the $2 million goal. So it's being made, and now we're seeing like what
set a Guinness World Record as well.
Yeah,
fastest Kickstarter.
Oh my god, yeah. And now we're going to see how far is it going to go in terms of the stretch goals. That's a big thing now. I mean, this is great, man. I mean, obviously now they're gonna have to get this and actually deliver a product. But it's almost scary how effective Kickstarter is. I'd be very curious to see how Yooka-Laylee, how Bloodstained, how Shenmue 3 all turn out. Before I get excited at the prospect of we could dictate what games we want by what is it? Money where words are worth, or words where money's worth? I don't know. Like, but for now, dude, I'm just ecstatic. Shenmue was one of my favorite games. It's in my top 10 favorite video games of all time. The original Shenmue. I love the series. I've always wanted a conclusion to the series. I'm actually replaying Shenmue 1 and 2. I immediately hooked up my Dreamcast and started, a little earlier today because I just got so psyched about it. I can't wait, man. I'm ecstatic.
Isn't Sony funding this project?
They're being very coy with their support of it.
See,
they've said we're helping it, like that's what, or something like that. They're saying
this is where my big problem is, and I really want to touch on this because I think that I feel a lot for a lot of Xbox fans. Where if Microsoft had done this, PlayStation fanboys would have been up their fucking arses about it. Mm-hmm. But I think that Sony is in the fucking wrong here for supporting this. I think Sony should not be backing it at all. When it goes on a Kickstarter project, just like Inafune has done with is it Inafune? No, Igarashi, sorry, has done with Bloodstained. Mm-hmm. Igarashi?
Yeah, Iga, yeah.
Yeah, Igarashi's done with Bloodstained. It should be an independent game. When you go to Kickstarter, you want a game funded because you don't want publishers or big companies involved. I feel Sony's in the wrong way. It's taking money from the consumers like this via Kickstarter, and then also publishing money in itself, to make it an exclusive on PC as well.
It's
PS4 and PC.
I think we need more info because it's really weird, dude. There's three things that have related to Shenmue 3 that have kind of made me, like what you're talking about, have kind of confused me. The first one was when they first announced it. If you remember, the dude who announced it said, "Now, before I announce this, this is something this person is doing. We're not really that involved with it. They just want to use our stage to present it, and then they presented Shenmue 3." And then the second thing is on the FAQ on the Kickstarter. So one of the questions is, will there be an Xbox, Wii U, Linux, Mac version for Shenmue 3? And this is what they said. Currently, we're planning development only for PC and PS4. Other platforms have not been decided yet. And I remember when Bloodstained was asked the same question for Wii U or Vita, they presented a similar answer. And then one of the stretch goals became, a Wii U version and a Vita version. So
yeah.
I don't think Sony, it's not like what Street Fighter V is, obviously, or like how Nintendo was with Bayonetta 2. I don't think Sony's is sinking in money into it. They did say in an interview that I saw on their live cast yesterday that they are putting it through the process of they have a third-party development section of Sony, and they are putting Shenmue 3 through it like they would any other third-party game. But I don't think I don't think it's gonna end up being like a Street Fighter V type thing. I don't necessarily think it's an exclusive. I just think it's dependent on stretch goals. That's what I think it is. It could end up being an exclusive, though.
I think it's a ploy. I think Sony has some kind of influence in it.
I don't know. I think it's that's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not, but I think we know so little, you know?
But it's just the fact that it's on PS4 and PC only, and they're not answering the question of that, can it come to other platforms?
Yeah, but that's like I said, as an example, the same thing Bloodstained said. It's like almost an identical question. They asked, "What about a Wii U or Vita version or this and that?" And I think it was like almost verbatim the same thing. Like right now we're only developing on this, and then
wasn't the Bloodstained version of Xbox already confirmed though? The Wii U and the Vita were stretch goals, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was I think it was PC, Mac. PS4 and Xbox One. Those were the announced things, and then later on, via stretch goals, Vita and Wii U was announced. In this case, for Shenmue, it's PS4 and PC. No Mac, no Linux, and then the other stuff is like, still in the weird zone. It's weird, man. I think you could be right, dude. I'm not disencouraging what you're saying. I just think at the moment we know such little info, and everything is kind of like, nothing's making sense. Like one person saying, "Oh no, we have no stake in this," and then the other second they're saying, "We absolutely have a stake in this." So it's weird. We don't really know what they're saying.
Found a story here where it says Sony's officially funding and helping the development of the newly announced Shenmue 3. Sony's director of third-party production, Gio Corsi, revealed at E3 2015 today, which was on June 16. Yesterday.
So then fuck. I still think a stretch goal might. But still, shit, that kind of sounds like it is going to be a Sony thing. I don't know. This is weird, dude. This is really bizarre. I mean, I'm just happy we're getting it, and I'm happy I have a console to play it on.
I'm perfectly happy with it. I'm just the fact that I don't like how it's being received, because people have always been. If this was Microsoft, I bet you everyone would have their pitchforks out. I'm not a fanboy in either console. I've always accepted that fact. I'm not a fanboy. I don't like being a fanboy. Even if I'm a Metal Gear fan, I always look at the negatives of Metal Gear. Mm-hmm. I just don't like to be narrow-minded. I hate being narrow-minded, but I do think it's very, what is it called, hypocritical how the people are reacting towards it. I still think it's kind of awkward that Sony's funding this game.
Yeah.
It just makes...
I think that's a valid idea, dude. I mean, I want to see more, like, as we unlock these stretch goals, I want to wait and see what happens. All I know is that I paid for the digital copy. I'm just happy for it, but that is definitely a good point you made.
Because it makes sense for Sony to make physical copies, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's where all those questions start coming in. Because why are they being? That's another question they asked on the FAQ. Is there any digital things, or physical? And they said no, just digital. They didn't even say there's a possibility. They straight up said we're releasing physical and digital on PC. Digital only on PS4. That's all they said. So
I think it's really weird because I think Sony would get it on physical. They want it on fucking shop floors.
Yeah,
to sell.
It's a weird move. That's why I'm saying I want to wait and see what this game makes. I mean, it's already made over 3 million. So
yeah,
I'd be curious to see what its final thing. I mean, shit, Yooka-Laylee met all its stretch goals, and so did Bloodstained. And at one point, they slowed down dramatically, so we'll see it. This is they had 30 days left, which is crazy. So,
Chad, fucking, he must be, sipping his drink. By the way, did you see the guy who reacted in the crowd during E3?
No.
With his hands on his head?
No, I didn't see that.
Did you not see that? This guy, literally gets up and, must have it was the embodiment of almost everyone's reaction at E3. He literally stands up, he's got his hands on his head, oh my god, he's just, can't believe it. They actually pan the camera towards him as well from the conference day. It's so funny when they do. I'm like, oh my god, that's actually perfect timing to do that.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I was in a state of shock. I think I didn't... what's funny is immediately afterwards they showed a trailer for Arkham Knight, and it was Joker burning, and I'm like, what's going on? The Joker's burning? I can't comprehend any of this. I didn't know what was going on, because I was still in shock for Shenmue 3.
Kudos to Rocksteady Studios turning up at E3, but the game's out next week.
Yeah,
they should have brand new trailer. We feel like
it's dude, the sale has been done. It's okay. You can go now.
Yeah, exactly.
I literally bought the game already. Just go. It's next week. I'm happy. Scarecrow missions, right on. All right, let's move on. It was that was my mindset. And then, dude, I got semi-excited when Assassin's Creed Syndicate came, because I'm like, aha, that's why they didn't show gameplay at at their Ubisoft conference, and then they showed another cinematic trailer, and I'm like, okay, fuck you. Like, I got so upset. I got so pissed, because I'm like, you smart bastards, you got me, didn't you? And then, again, another trailer, cinematic trailer, I'm like, oh, dude, just go home, you're drunk, like, you're not making any sense right now, you're being assholes at this point.
Yeah.
And then...
I was just at the point where I was like, fuck you. I'm done. I'm just like, I'm just like... Leave it be. Like, being the dead horse so much.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And then my last little note I have here was the which we mentioned off podcast right before we recorded, the Uncharted snafu, the little mess up they had at the beginning. Oh, dude, I was cracking up. Like, I started laughing. I'm like, again? Come on, Naughty Dog. Like,
I instantly thought of you because we joked about this at PlayStation Experience when it happened. The blip happened where Nathan Drake fell through the floor. When I saw it again, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh my god!"
It was hilarious. But I have to say, once they got everything under control and they showed the game is beautiful. Looks so great.
I even love that moment. It's just the little moments. I love when Nate's walking for the crowd, and then he just touches that guy, and he's like, "Next time," he's like, "Oh, sorry." And then, kind of interacts with him as if he's a person, like you would if you're going through a crowd of like 50 people.
Yeah.
I felt like the realism was just, it was mesmerizing and breathtaking.
And you saw some Last of Us things in there. Like, you could tell they learned a lot from The Last of Us, and they're adapting.
Australian Druckmann, they're really kind of like bringing in that.
Yeah. So it's definitely a post Amy Henning, Uncharted.
I think it's a great thing as well for it to be a post Amy Henning game, especially for it to be the final game.
I think it was that's a whole conversation for another day. I think it was a colossal dick move on Naughty Dog's part. I was just happy that she immediately found work with the new Star Wars game, which I was so sad we didn't see, but I understand why. They wanted to focus on Battlefront. But I cannot wait until they show off whatever game she's developing.
Next year.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
Too much. They'll link that one with the movie times and stuff. I think they can't do too much Star Wars at one conference.
Yeah.
Battlefront was at ace in the whole this conference. And I think the next conference will focus on
the new one. Yeah.
Game. Yeah, she's working on.
But that's all I had for me personally. My notes on Sony.
Yeah, I mean, overall, anyway, like, Shuya Yoshida was quite a nice touch for him to turn up and, like, really kind of rattle up the crowd for The Last Guardian. The first 30 minutes were great. Like I said, the Horizon, that's my, one of the games for me to watch out for. I'm really, really fucking interested in that.
Oh, yeah.
And a great announcement. I think the midway into the conference, they really slowed down. I think it was getting, like, into it's the Sony syndrome. Do you know when they had their conference, like, PlayStation Experience, but it slowed down?
Yeah.
And then they ended with Uncharted. They kind of really picked it up. I think that there was kind of like Andrew House came out and kind of like rode the crowd. He brought the house down. But like, I think one of the weirdest things was that the fact that they didn't really talk about system updates and stuff like Microsoft did. Mm-hmm. Because Microsoft said, like, we got backwards compatibility. They were talking about the other features for the Xbox and whatnot. And obviously, I think they only talked about PlayStation View, which I really don't have an interest in because it's not rolling out into the UK yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's some issues I had with it. I just think that they could have really done a little bit more with the conference to kind of like sell it.
I think their primary it was my favorite conference, but granted, that was completely because of The Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Shenmue 3. Especially Shenmue. Like, by default, it just was. Like, and that no one can take that away from me, unfortunately. It's just built into me. But I think their primary problem was exactly what you mentioned earlier, that Microsoft encompassed everything that an E3 conference should be.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's my problem with the entire conference. This is why I don't think with Sony. Sony could have announced Half-Life 3, I still wouldn't count it for it. Mm-hmm. Because even with the free Dream lineups they announced, those games I can't play yet.
Yeah, that's
years
away, some of them.
Yeah, and even in the Uncharted side, like the Uncharted collection, the Nathan Drake collection, they barely touched on that. There was nothing for the fall.
Yeah.
I had nothing for... honestly, at this point, I'm going to buy an Xbox One because I have no games to play for my PS4. It's literally been collecting dust. Because I don't play on it because there's no games out there. There's nothing... Obviously, I've missed out Bloodborne, whatever, but there's no games for the fall. There's nothing to encompass the present. They're going to lose loads of sale numbers in the fall. I put my money on it now. So, Microsoft will dick them from September till December with sales numbers because they have games coming out, a Forza bundle, a Halo bundle. They have Rise of the Tomb Raider as well. They have games coming out. That's what we want, games.
I agree. That was, I think, fundamentally their worst problem is there is absolutely nothing that's exclusive to Sony that we're looking forward to this holiday season. I don't really care about the Nathan Drake collection. That's something I'd like to buy down the line maybe, but it's not like a definitive game I have to buy. I think the Gears Ultimate Edition is way more interesting than the Nathan Drake collection. Granted, we know more of it. They didn't even touch up on. We don't even know what it looks like. We don't know if it's going to be like a big overhaul or like a 1080p 60 frames remaster, like what Last of Us was. Yeah.
Yeah. The other things we're talking about, the Vita was not mentioned. We were right.
Right.
Fuck the Vita. It's dead. Case closed. Don't even argue against it.
Yeah.
They did not care about it. My biggest surprise was Morpheus was 2 minutes.
Yeah, Morpheus was barely touched on. They were just kind of like, here's Morpheus. And I was still in shock on Shenmue, mind you. So I didn't absorb what the hell they said. I'm like, okay, Morpheus, but oh my god, Shenmue. Like...
Yeah, that was a kind of shock for me. I was like, come on, you need to sell this. And it kind of like says, is this the Vita 2.0?
Before it even comes out.
Yeah, it's testing the waters now because I'm like really pessimistic. Like, why would you not use E3 to talk about the future? One of my mantras for what E3 is meant to be. I think one of my outside of E3, we'll talk about one announcement, which was the Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain remaster coming to PS4.
Right. Yeah.
I
personally, I think it's great. Especially since there's a larger install base on PS4, and I think that people should play these games. They're both beautiful games, but I'm probably not going to buy it at all.
Beyond's criminally underrated.
I actually prefer Heavy Rain over Beyond. But I agree. Beyond is super underrated. Excellent.
Yeah,
game.
That's what I'm perfectly with you on that. I don't know. Yeah. I do have a thing for Ellen Page and Oberlin for my heroes. But I do think that Heavy Rain is better, and I think it's a classic. But I think Quantic Dream weren't there. I wish that intro video would have played, which I envisioned where David Cage is lying on the floor and Shuhei Yoshida rattles the cage. It's like, David, wake up. He's just like, he wakes up like a lion or something. Like, don't rattle the cage 2016. No, but obviously these were intentionally timed announcements because they've just done an Indigo Prophecy remaster. The Beyond Two Souls and the Heavy Rain bundles, Heavy Rain remaster is coming to Europe and the PAL regions. Take that, Chris. An official release that's not been confirmed yet. Quantic Dream have said that it might come to North America. Take that, Chris. But I think, obviously, it's timed. I think that this pretty much confirms that Quantic Dream is going to be at Paris Games Week.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely it's a smart move on Sony's part. Because the Gamescom thing, they're being really quiet about Gamescom they're being quiet about the fact they're not going to be at Gamescom after their statement. And Paris, I'd be very curious to see what they're going to do at Paris Game Show.
Yeah,
or Paris Games Week. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm very interested in Paris Games Week, but that was probably the big news that came out outside of Sony. But yeah, I think we've pretty much covered it. I mean, we haven't touched on some of the third-party stuff because I think we did that with Microsoft and it kind of alienates the other conferences.
Yeah.
There's a big third-party game announced, but we'll talk about that in another conference.